This is Future Talk.
Future Talk.
Future Talk with Omnia Al Saleh and Hani Balkis.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Future Talk right here on Pulse 95. I hope you're all having a fantastic afternoon and a great start to your week. The weather has definitely been so much better. It's very breezy, even though it is still a little bit hot, but nonetheless, we will take a little bit of breeze.
Yes, it's a little bit sunny, but I mean, I like the cold breeze. We are entering a winter, and winter is always a good vibes. I mean, you roll down the windows at 12 p.m. and you're not sweating. But you know what's happening all over the UAE, Omnia?
Yes, lots is happening in the tech world, in the UAE and around the world, starting with AI, because AI is going to be entering our very own schools through different e-learning platforms that will be implemented in every UAE school very soon.
Yes, and we're also going to be talking about a Twitter service that has restored the following global platform outage. So there was a big outage, and Twitter has restored that, thankfully.
Have you seen it? Have you experienced it?
I've experienced it.
Over the weekend. So let us know if you have experienced it as well. But coming up on Future Talk, we're talking all about turning humans into robots by wearing a single suit. And this is definitely going to be coming in handy in Car Factory. Why and how is it going to be implemented? You're going to be getting all those details in just a few moments.
Yes, and have you ever heard a song but you just don't know the lyrics to? Well, all you have to do is hum, because soon all you have to do is hum to Google, and it's going to tell you which song you had in mind. We're going to be taking a short break, but when we come back, we're going to give you all that is latest right here in the UAE and around the world. But we're going to leave you with a song that I like to do all the time. It's called Be Kind, ladies and gentlemen.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about an AI-powered e-learning platform that is going to be in all UAE public schools soon. Yes, indeed. Now, you know us on Future Talk, we love talking about AI, and to see it being implemented in public schools right here in the UAE is amazing. But the platform will be launched in 196 schools in Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, Ras Al Khaimah, and Fujairah by December of 2020 this year. Now, it is a digital learning platform which is powered by AI and will be implemented in all public schools in the UAE.
Now, this is an announcement coming right out of the Ministry of Education. And the main goal behind all of this is to help students adjust a little bit more to distance learning. Now, we do know that right here in Sharjah and even in Dubai, a lot of schools have had the option of giving students either e-learning or physical learning or a mixture of both. So as a parent, you have the option to pick whatever it is that makes you comfortable. But implementing this artificial intelligence platform will help the ministry achieve all of its goals when it comes to developing a digital education system that is capable of adapting to any change. And we've definitely seen this come to life during the COVID-19 pandemic. Life can change in the blink of an eye. And if we can have a digital platform that can adapt to all of the needs of those students, then we are sure that their learning is not going to stop if anything happens.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has shed light on a lot of things. Now, a lot of schools in the U.S. and around the world and right here in the UAE and everywhere have been adapting to digital learning, but a lot of schools were under criticism that a lot of students don't know how to use technology. They don't know how to use e-learning.
Yes.
Teachers weren't familiar with technology. Parents weren't familiar with technology. And it's unacceptable because we are in 2020 and technology does revolve around everything, and everything revolves around technology. So this initiative does kind of come in, and it does come in and say, hey, listen, we need to focus on technology. That's number one. And getting used to doing things online and digitally. I mean, we've seen a lot of government sectors kind of depend on digital transactions. We've talked about, Omni and I, the municipality.
Right here in Sharjah, going paperless.
So having everything being online or technology-based is something that is very important and a new stepping stone for the future.
Absolutely. And this is exactly why this platform will be used to teach over 40,000 students in grades 5 up to grade 9, 6 core subjects. So we're looking at Arabic, mathematics, science, Islamic studies, social studies, and English. Now, students in grades 10 and 12 will be included next year. So we are witnessing this happening in stages, and that's simply to ensure that every stage is being implemented at the best way possible. Teachers and students will also have access to different academic programs that will help support them in their learning journey in the way that fits them best. And this is the best part about using artificial intelligence. It's the way you're able to mold it to fit every student's need. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which I believe by now we should be moving on from the one-size-fits-all education system. And we are doing this one step at a time through this AI platform.
Yes, and the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Education did say that the country is laying the foundation for a flexible and effective virtual learning ecosystem. Now, it is a strategic vision of the Ministry of Education and is built on a futuristic vision to develop an educational system that is up to date with the current developments and technology, which is super duper uber important. Now, that's what I like to hear, and that's what I'm actually so happy that I'm bringing out this news and I'm talking about it, because AI is very important. And time again, Omni and I bring people on the show and we talk about how AI is important and shaping the future. I mean, we're seeing AI soon enough going to be doing oil changes.
Absolutely. And when it comes to artificial intelligence and online learning, I believe that even though distance learning has definitely been a very difficult learning curve for many parents and students, it's also opened the doors for many students to, start learning at universities right here in the UAE, even if they are living somewhere else. But let's move on to talk a little bit about what has been happening with Twitter this weekend, because Twitter has not had the best 2020, just like all of us.
Yes, I mean, Twitter did suffer a global platform outage. Now, the outage did mark a new setback for the network, which is fending off accusations over bias over its decision to block a news report critical of Joe Biden. Now, Twitter's service did appear to be restored on Thursday evening after a technical problem did cause a global outage of nearly 2 hours. Now, that is a big number.
Yes.
2 hours is a big number when we're talking about a social media platform as big as Twitter. And we do know that is used by hundreds of millions of people worldwide. Now, it did mark a setback for the network. And like I said, there's kind of a conspiracy that they were kind of blocking the news of Joe Biden. That's why there was an outage. But who knows?
Absolutely. And whenever we're talking about, Twitter going basically off the internet, we are also worried about security breaches, especially taking into consideration the tough history that Twitter has been going through this year with the biggest hack that happened to many popular names, many influencers, and even political figures. So as of right now, there is no evidence that what happened was, a result of security breach or even a hack. They are still investigating all the internal causes and will definitely keep you updated with that. But Twitter did post a very similar message to its status page to the one that happened whenever they had the massive hack. So they did say that Twitter has been down for many of you, and we are working to get it back up and running for everyone. Now, luckily, it didn't last for too long. It was long enough, 2 hours, but it wasn't a full day. Now, we did see Twitter struggle with a lot of security breaches, so I'm just hoping that this was not another one.
Yes, we actually seen earlier this year a couple of, I think around 130 accounts were hacked.
Yeah.
And a lot of big names, we're talking about Bill Gates, Elon Musk, a lot of big names were hacked, and they were tweeting out things and they scammed a lot of people. But then they did recover from that, and several people were actually charged for the hack. And even Twitter's own founder, Jack Dorsey's account was hacked, and there was offensive messages that were released and posted on his account. So, I mean, it's a big deal. So Twitter does need to kind of talk about their own security. But I feel like in the recent years, Twitter has been the victim of many hacks because of U.S. President Donald Trump, and because of how much
he uses
Twitter. And how much a lot of people actually started using Twitter because of the U.S. president.
Absolutely. Now, with this outage that happened, many tweets, that's what we typically call those who tweet frequently across the United States and in the UK, they were not able to tweet. However, they were able to send a few DMs through the platform, even though the outage was still taking place on the regular tweets. Let us know, have you experienced the outage yourself? What was your experience with it? And were you a little bit worried about your own privacy? Our text lines are open for 215 do Itisalat or slide into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. Coming up on Future Talk, we're talking all about humans turning into robots in car factories.
Yes, indeed. I think maybe one day, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be dancing in the moonlight.
Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
In this day and age that we are currently living in, going out of the house without your wearable technology feels like you are missing on a very important accessory, or more or less it's like missing out on your phone. Today I left without my Apple Watch, and I felt like whenever I got a notification, I'm like, oh, I don't have a watch on my wrist to look at. But wearable technology is taking on a completely different meaning in the world of automobiles, because as employees age and as younger people tend to, move away from the idea of working on a factory production line, companies are looking at ways to lighten the load. And what is better than using a wearable technology that has been previously used to help people of determination, more specifically those who are paralyzed from the waist down, paraplegic, to actually move. So they typically would wear what we would call an exoskeleton. So it's like a suit that would help raise their body, lift their body. It would ease the weight off of them, and it will give them that sense of movement, that sense of normalcy that they definitely miss. But what if we could use this type of suit in a car factory?
Yes, I mean, now wearable technology is taking on a different meaning in the automobile world. Now, a lot of people and a lot of employees who are under young age are kind of saying, no, we don't want to work in factories, because we can see that back in I believe it was the 1940s. I think it was in the main place, they called it, the main factory place was in Chicago, Michigan. I think, no, Michigan. It was in Michigan, Detroit.
Yeah.
And we've seen over the years that those people who worked in those factories, they developed back pain, joint problems, and because obviously you're working in a car factory, it is very tiring. But now we're seeing how maybe robotics could be the solution. So, a high-tech exoskeleton are being explored by firms which do include Hyundai Motors, Ford Motor, and General Motors, GM. Now, the technology initially was developed to help people who had lost the ability to walk or stand on their own, just like Omnia said, and it does ease fatigue and helps prevent injury, and is particularly useful for repetitive processes that can be automated even as robotics makes big inroads to the sector. Now, I remember when I think like 10 years ago, this has been the talk. We've seen a lot of robotics being used in factories, and a lot of factory workers were complaining and saying that that robots are going to take over our job, this and that. And we're seeing that even with robots, with automation, with AI, still there's a couple of jobs that humans need to be physical and do it. But now we're seeing how robots come in and help those humans do their job with these repetitive tasks.
Now, if you can't have a robot do the job, might as well turn the human being into a robot. And this is exactly what these suits are doing. Now, these exoskeleton suits are coming right out of a company called ULC or ULS Robotics. And they've so far tested 3 different exoskeleton suits on workers. And they have definitely been helping them lift all the heavy equipments that they might come in to contact with in their day-to-day workday. One of them is used for the upper body, another goes around the waist, and the third focuses on the lower limbs. So the first 2 actually weigh about 7 kilograms each, and they allow any person who is wearing it to lift an additional 20 kilograms. Can you imagine? So you're basically, it's like wearing a Superman suit and having extra power on your
superhuman suit.
Basically.
So again, this comes in with to prevent injuries and to kind of help the load and take off the load on the lower back, on the arms, because I've seen actually a documentary about how so many factory workers, and I think that's why they developed a union. Unions were developed because of factories.
It's
car
taxing
factories.
on their body.
It was taxing on their bodies, and they weren't getting medical insurance and stuff like that. But this goes back and just goes to show how technology is easing the life, and it's not going to take your job. It might actually help your job, and we're saying this right here. Now, when I'm hearing about how it's going to help lift 20 kilograms and prevent injuries. You know what comes to mind?
What?
A Marvel supervillain. A supervillain just comes in as a plain storyline for a supervillain.
True.
I just feel like one day one of these workers is going to get fed up and become a supervillain.
That's it. We're going to use
and start throwing around cars.
use the exoskeleton suit against their own company.
Exactly. I mean, he'll probably find a way to tweak it up instead of 20 kilograms, 200 kilograms, or even 2 tons. Who knows?
Well, let's try and focus on using technology for good. If you're wondering how much weight can it carry, as we mentioned, it allows you to carry up to 20 kilograms, an additional 20 kilograms to how much ever you can hold. But these suits are also powered by a battery that has a life of about 6 to 8 hours. So not that long lasting, but I'm sure it's long lasting enough to help those who are working in the production line get the job done. Let us know if you could wear an exoskeleton suit in your day-to-day life. What would you use it for?
Changing tires.
Really?
Yeah.
I would use it to carry the groceries.
No, I'm...
in one go, in one trip.
Okay, good point. I feel like changing tires, because changing tires, it hurts the back a lot. Let us know, 4215 slot, or text slide in our DMs at Pulse95 Radio on Instagram. We're going to be taking a short break, but when we come back, we're going to leave it for a surprise, ladies and gentlemen.
Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the iPhone 12 all over again, because we're going to be talking about it for a while and even for the next couple of months. But let's talk about how it was under a lot of scrutiny.
I'm very disappointed by Apple.
Because we do know that there's no more headphones or charger or case in the case or in the box anymore when you do buy a brand new iPhone. And we're going to be telling you about what you need to buy for that iPhone and how one country is getting that charger and why.
Now, I was honestly very shocked to find out that France is actually the only country in the world that will be receiving an iPhone charger and possibly a headset whenever you're going to go ahead and purchase the brand new iPhone 12, any of the iPhone 12s, from the iPhone 12 mini to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. But if you are planning to buy the iPhone 12 and you do not own a USB-C charger, you might just want to tune in and listen in for a bit, because we have some bad news. You might just have to be buying and spending more cash when you have just bought your brand new iPhone. And this is the reason why. The previous iPhone chargers that, everyone uses with the USB port actually will not charge your phone as fast as the new USB-C port could.
Now, this is a big problem.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why this is a big problem. First of all, people who bought portable chargers.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people buy portable chargers. I
just bought one recently.
I live on a portable charger. When I'm out and I have a long day ahead of me, I'll have my nice power bank portable charger right next to me. But now we're seeing that, hey, listen, well, it's basically obsolete right now. So I don't like how they've switched to USB-C, and I don't like how they didn't include it in the box. I don't like a lot of things about what Apple did this year. But we're going to be talking about how you can kind of
work
around it. Now, Apple started doing this to cut down on its carbon footprint, apparently.
I don't agree with this.
I know, we all know it's a gimmick. But it also means that we have to spend more to get the most out of our brand new iPhone that we just bought for over 4,000 dirham or 3,000 dirham, depends on the model. Now, here's the deal. If you still have one of those small square chargers from Apple that does have an ordinary USB plug on it, you won't be able to use that with the new cable in the iPhone 12 box, which does use a different connection. Now, that old charger won't charge your iPhone as fast as possible. So the new plug should give you a 50% charge in about 30 minutes, which is great.
It's fantastic.
Thank you, Apple. But you won't get the full speed from Apple's new MagSafe wireless charger, which means your phone is going to spend a lot more time charging if you don't upgrade. So basically, Apple said, hey, listen, we're going to give you 50% charge in 30 minutes, but you're going to have to pay a little bit more on top of you just bought a premium iPhone for over $1,000.
Yes, and the thing is, the whole idea behind not including a charger and a headset is to basically be more sustainable to the environment, cut down on their carbon footprint. But how a lot of people see it, including myself, is they're only cutting down on costs, because they're still going to be producing these chargers, especially for people who have had iPhones. They may not have the new plug including myself. A lot of people don't update their phone every single year. So with that, you're still going to have to be purchasing those chargers. The only difference is you're going to have to pay more cash to get what used to be free at some point. Now, one other issue, as you mentioned, Hani, is the fact that a lot of people have power banks. A lot of people may be using iPhone chargers that don't belong to Apple. They're not coming right out of Apple, but they belong to sister companies that do still charge the phone. So do those go out of business as well?
I don't think they go out of business. They just have to create more and make more production, thus killing the thought about saying, hey, all carbon footprint. It's a big lie. To me, I don't feel like that is the main purpose of Apple. We know Apple, what they do and how they... I mean, Apple products are great. Nonetheless,
exactly. They're amazing.
But the way that they run their business is kind of sketchy to me. But let's be honest. Now, the new iPhone plug is going to cost you around $20 to $30. So let's say 100 dirhams in general.
Yeah.
Now, 100 dirhams is not a big deal. It's not going to break the bank. But listen, you've just bought a 4,000 dirham iPhone. Why do I have to pay an extra 100 dirhams to kind of charge my phone?
To use
the phone, to charge my phone. And I mean... It's unviable. I don't like it. I don't like the idea at all. And a lot of people are going to start thinking twice when they buy an iPhone now, because they're going to be saying, my budget was, let's say, for example, 4,000, but now I have to go out of budget because I need to go buy, number one, a new power plug, number two, a new portable charger, number three, a new wire for that portable charger, because some people like to keep a wire at home and a wire with them. So you're just messing up their whole day because you decided that we're not gonna put that in the box anymore.
The thing is, though, the whole reason behind iPhone's iPhone lineup this year is to basically to cut cost and to woo budget conscious customers. So what's the point of reducing the price, creating iPhones that are cheaper, if you're still gonna have to ask the customer to go ahead and buy a charger, buy a headset?
They're Apple.
It's just, the pandemic has impacted people a lot economically, but to go to that route, to make something that used to be for free become something that you have to pay for, it's not a nice mix.
Yes, it's not a privilege, it's a necessity. You need it. They weren't giving you an offer, you need it. So
it's like giving a kid a game and telling him, oh, there's the game, but no batteries. Go ahead and purchase the batteries.
So what I generally think, now France has combated that. France has, in France, the charger will come in the box, and that does come in with the strict restrictions that the EU and France in general have been doing on Apple, because Apple is the only phone manufacturer that uses their own type of wires. Because when it comes to Samsung and Android devices, they all have that one plug.
The thing is everyone going to start buying the iPhone 12 from France?
I mean, that's a good question. If it comes in French, oui, croissant. Guess what? I speak French now. French fries, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's not we're not just talking about the charger being included, but we're also talking about the earpods being included as well. And this is all because France's radiation laws actually require a headset and a charger to be included in the smartphone box to protect any child under the age of 14 from the radiation that comes out of our smartphones whenever we're using them to talk to our loved ones. And this is something I think a lot of people tend to forget about. Phones can actually be very damaging to children's ears.
Yes. Now, the thing is right now is that I'm upset with Apple. I'm hurt by Apple, and I'm hurt by what they've done, because it's just ridiculous. Now, when I want to buy a new phone, I'm gonna think twice about it. And now what we're looking at is that they're pushing the consumer to buy a phone, number one, and then they have to buy the headphones, and you're going to say, well, I don't want to buy the headphones, I want to buy the Apple wireless headphones, and then you're going to have to make them buy a charger and a power bank. So what you're basically doing is, when you're buying a new phone from Apple, you're going to have to upgrade your whole entire accessory. Now, for someone like me who already has AirPods, that's no problem, but I do have to buy a new charger. I have to buy a new portable charging bank. So there's a lot that comes in mind. There's a lot that goes into process just to buy a new iPhone, which kind of defeats the purpose of simplicity that Apple does want to come out. And Omnia had a great point last week in saying, but you're still producing the chargers.
Exactly.
So what's the difference?
And especially for those who, let's say, were Android users, decided to switch to Apple or to become an iPhone user, this only means that they have to to set a much bigger budget than they thought. I think the only solution is for countries around the world to basically put out the same fine that France puts out for any company that wants to sell its products in France. You'll basically be charged 75,000 euros if you don't include accessories in the box of the phone.
We know that Samsung is in the corner right now, taking out a notepad and writing everything Apple is doing.
True.
And going to implement it in next year's, because apparently, even though it sucks, Samsung will copy, and Apple will copy whatever Samsung does. We're going to be taking a short break, but when we come back, if you ever heard of a song that you like, but you don't know the lyrics to, but you know the humming, you know how to hum to it, well, Google is going to find that song for you. But we're going to be taking a short break, and we're going to leave you with Chemicals.
Pulse 95.
Apps all around.
What's worth a click and download?
If this isn't worth it, I don't know what is, to be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, because how many times have you sat in your car and saying, I can't remember that name of the song, and you talked to your friend, you called your friend, Omnia, Omnia, do you remember that song?
Or whistle it to the friend.
And like, honey, what are you talking about? I don't know which song you're talking about. How am I supposed to know from humming? Well, Google has said, listen, I know what kind of problems you're going through, and I have the solution for you, because now you can hum to search in Google and find that song that has been stuck in your head for 4 days.
This is the best feature that has ever launched out of Google to this day and age, because whenever I think about it, I honestly barely ever remember the name of a song. I'll always either Shazam it or ask Siri about what is the song that I just listened to. But if you don't catch it in the moment, what do? If you remember the melody, if you remember the rhythm, but you don't necessarily remember the name of the song, all you'll have to do is hum it or whistle it to Google, because now Google has the ability to find exactly what song it is that is stuck in your head without any lyrics, without the artist names, without even the perfect pitch required. You don't have to be a singer to be able to do this. All you'll have to do is hum the melody to your mobile device. And you'll be able to do that if you have the latest version of the Google app, or even if you just use the Google search widget, tap on the mic icon and say, what is this song? And hum it to Google.
Yes, and then all you have to do is hum for 10 to 15 seconds. I'm going to try it in a bit. 10 to 15 seconds. And it's simple as that. Or you can, if you have Google Assistant, all you have to do is say, hey, Google, what is this song? And then hum the tune. Now, the feature is currently available in English on iOS and in more than 20 languages on Android. And they do hope to expand this to more languages in the future. Now, after you've hummed the song that has been stuck in your head, you can select the best match and explore information on the song and artist, and view any accompanying music videos, or even listen to the song on your favorite music app. Find the lyrics, read analysis, and even check out other recordings of the song when available. So let's say, for example, I'm on my iPhone, iOS, I've hummed the song to Google, and after I've finished, I find the song, and then I can go and import that song or search that song on Apple Music through Google. I search that song on Apple Music, and there I have it, stuck to my library. So I like the feature a lot, because I don't know how many times I've been in a car and my friend's like, hey, dude, do you know that song? I'm like, which song? You know that song that was... See me again. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't know the song. So having this feature is very important, and I like it a lot.
I definitely agree with you, Hani. It's countless the number of times we forget the name or even the artist who sang a certain song. But according to Google, a song's melody or rhythm is just like our fingerprints. So they're very unique, and if you can use artificial intelligence and machine learning to teach it how to match your hum to the right artist, simply by whistling or singing to it, you're basically going to be able to find the exact song that you are looking for. So all you have to do is head to Google search, hum out the melody. You don't even need to know how to whistle to be able to try this out yourself. And then the machine learning algorithms will basically be able to transform your audio into what it is, that song that you are currently humming to.
Let us know what you guys think, though, because I've had this problem a lot. And, I've kind of mastered the way of finding out music or finding out which song was stuck in my head just by a melody.
No way.
I'll tell you how I've mastered it.
How?
So there would be times in my life where I'd be so upset I didn't know what the song name was.
Yeah.
I'd hear it on the radio, for example, or in a or in a video on Instagram, and I would look through the comments for hours. I would never find out the song. So what I start to do is I'd pick up keywords of that song.
I was just gonna say.
And I would search it, and I would put the genre, for example. Let's say it's a rock song. So let's say we will rock you, for example. I'll probably rock song, high upbeat on Google.
Yeah.
And I'd find the search perfectly. So
But what if you don't even remember the words? That's when I think this would come in handy, because I agree with you. That's what I used to do. At least remember a few words of the song.
So this comes in handy with people who like dubstep, trance music, house music.
Yes.
Because it's always like... So it's good for these people. So you can find me at 4 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, opening up the Google app, going, and seeing what comes out from that. So
that's 2020 for you.
That's 2020 for you. I mean, listen to 4215 slots or slide into our DMs on Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. How many times have you heard a song? You didn't know the name of the song, and you were so upset, and the song was stuck in your head for hours and hours and hours on end, and you never really found out the song. Or if you've tuned into Pulse 95 and heard the song on our radio station and never knew the song and you were upset about it. But Future Talk is jumping in that spaceship and going all the way to space.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be leaving you in the safe hands of the Dream Team. Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah will be bringing you the latest on what is happening in the entertainment industry. Music, shows, movies, you name it. They have it all.
Whatever you want, anything you need to waste your time or kill your time on, you got it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, Future Talk is signing out. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place, only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.